What's up, folks? Thank you for joining us tonight. This is Panther Pickle. We are here to have a little bit of conversation about what Dave Canales said today, and we'll look at some of the top 20 players in the upcoming NFL draft. Um, just to look at it because we've done enough mocks. We'll probably do one later this week anyway. Just talk a little bit about what Dave said. Welcome to the crew. Diesel Skills, my friend. How you doing?
I got to be honest with you, Pickle. I'm a little bit salty. I'm not a happy camper this evening, and it's because of what transpired yesterday. It has nothing to do with the Carolina Panthers. It has nothing to do with football. As a matter of fact, basketball's got me plumb hot. I don't know if anybody watched that Duke game yesterday. I doubt there's a Duke fan listening to us. There's not that many of us out here. Everybody's a Tar Heel fan. Just ask Jake. But anyway,
now, Deez, you know I won't go say nothing to you about that game.
Yeah, I did.
There's a reason I ain't saying nothing about that shit.
I'm mad you lost by 1 point. Just 1 point.
Well, the guy that messed up and threw the game for us won't come back next year because that's how college basketball is now. They only play 1 year and they don't come back. So I guess I'm okay with it.
Oh, well. Okay. Are you going to have a new head coach anyway?
Nah, their head coach is good. He's safe.
Yeah, our head coach is straight. He didn't do that much wrong. I blame him a little bit, but not as much as some other people. Now, Cole got a new head coach today, but he just dropped out. But we know he's having some issues. While we're talking about it, Jake, are you happy about moving on from your head coach? I've been wanting to know anyway, just on a personal level.
No, I'm actually one of the ones that's not happy that Hubert Davis is out the door. I was hoping that they was going to give him another year. I mean, he comes from the Roy Williams / Dean Smith tree, so I always love that kind of Tar Heel blue blood, so to speak, when it comes to the coaching tree. Sadly, they're moving on away from that, and the rumors are that we're talking about for our head coach is the Arizona head coach. And they're in the Final Four, so who knows what happens with that? But I'd like to see it.
Panther Pickle, this feels like the perfect opportunity to talk about some good in the state of North Carolina college basketball that happened today, sir. I have a brand new head coach who was our starting point guard from 2000, very early-ish, played all 4 years. Shout out to Justin Gainey. I hate Will Wade. I hope he chokes on Crawdad or whatever the fuck his fat ass is down there eating right now. Fuck you, bitch. Let's start the proceedings. Thank you,
I was about to say, don't go too far off the rails, Cole.
I'm suspended 2 days because of that bitch.
Yeah, let's the YouTube don't like us as is. But hey, we're salty, Pickle. Like I told you, man, if you gotta get it out, let's get it out on Monday. So I think we just, as a panel, we took the opportunity to go ahead and get that off our chest and get the saltiness out.
Y'all rip them all day. Yes, sir.
We'll wait.
I tell you what, I am a little salty. I was watching a TV show called The Marshals, and they ended this week's episode on a cliffhanger to continue it next week. What the hell? I won't watch it anyway. You don't need to cliffhanger it. Anyway.
Cliffhangers will piss you off.
Yeah, but you got to keep people. You got to think. Sometimes in them other seasons, they take a whole year, so they got to keep people interested for a whole year while they film the next season.
Well, now we'll get serious. To the Carolina Panthers, what the flipping hell? You let Dave sit down at the table. Everybody's asking him questions. Do you put a video out on your website? No. What the hell, man? We fans not good enough for a video?
We need the coverage. Where's the coverage at, Panthers?
I guess you go to Charlotte Observer and pay their website and you get covered. Anyway. Shout out,
dropping the ball.
I got if I had access.
Very much appreciate you being here.
By God, if I had access to them, I would have asked them some questions and I would have filmed it and got it on here for the Blue and Black Attack podcast, Deal With It show, the Cole show, the Invader show, the Brotherhood show, all the shows.
All right. Today, come on, Peter, don't do this to me. Ooh, here I is. Dave Canales said today that shout out. He says he expects Jonathan Brooks to be ready by OTA's training camp and preseason, which is really good. So that'll be a big help if he's back and available.
Especially if he's ready by the mini camp.
Right.
Because I think ain't the mini camp like the very first one they do?
Yeah.
Right. Well, there's not really any physical contact in minicamp.
Oh yeah, it's just like a run through. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they're doing like exercises,
Right.
basically, like some light drills or whatever. But
Yeah, and workout.
Right.
McAdoo did some weird stuff when he was here. But Canales and him don't do as much weird things during that mini camp. So Jonathan Brooks, right? Jonathan Brooks. So if he's truly splitting carries with Chuba Hubbard, then I think that's what Panthers fans really expected of a second round pickle. I think if it's anything less than that, like if they only use him as a third down back, I think that's kind of disappointing for a second round pick. I think I'd like to see a little more usage out of somebody that we spent a second round pick on rather than just a third down back. Quadzilla looks good though, man. AJ Dillon, I gotta admit, I was unfamiliar with your game, sir. I didn't know he was the kind of gym rat he is. AJ Dillon is huge. He looks like a bodybuilder. Guy's massive.
Right.
So I was unfamiliar with his physique and how big that guy is. And I think he's gonna make some noise. I think AJ Dillon is really gonna push ETN. I think he's gonna push ETN all the way to special teams. Is what I believe. And we'll have him out there in short yardage situation. And Jonathan Brooks, I think his playing time, I think it's up to him, Pickle. I'm going to go ahead and steal your line. Yes. I know you like to say that a lot. I think it is up to Jonathan Brooks. He's going to have to really look healthy, really make people miss, really be shifty, really be able to put weight on that knee, and then he can get some time from Chuba Hubbard. And if not, I think A.J. Dillon's going to be pushing that room. I really do now after learning a little more about the guy.
I like that. And I'll tell you why. It's put up or shut up time. It really is. It's time for some of these folks to put up or shut up. And he's not the only one that I'm going to say that about, but we'll start with him. It's put up or shut up. Put up. You went through training camp. You got drafted. It's been a couple years. You know what? Your injuries are done. Get on that field and produce. Show the fans that, hey, the fans that kept cheering for you, prove them that they were right to keep you up. Don't let them down. But A.J. Brooks, he's a powerful third down back. He's a guy, given the right system, could carry several people 5-6 yards deep into the end zone. Oh. Also, Dave said that he really wants, his exact quote was, they talked about drafting T-Mac and how they went for the best player, and that's what they want to do here. They don't believe in drafting for depth, things like that. They don't like that. They want an impact player. They want somebody, they want a safety, a tight end, they'd be all right to get a pass rusher. They want somebody who's going to impact us from the day they're drafted. Somebody who's going to walk in training camp and make a bold-faced impact. That's what kind of player they're wanting. And by all means, they should get that same player, regardless of the position. And I think they can. I absolutely think they can. People misunderstood when he said that. People misunderstood, they're not going to get a tackle, they're not going to get an interior lineman. No, they can still get those guys. And to me, I'm explaining why. If you take an offensive tackle and he walks into training camp or preseason and he plays better than Walker, then he gets that job. If you draft a defensive lineman, a tackle, and he plays better than Bobby Brown and better than Tyreek Hill, guess what? He gets that job. That's just how that works. If you draft a linebacker and that linebacker comes out and plays excellent football, guess what? He's a starter and Wallace is a backup. Tight end's the same way. There's a lot of ways they can wrap that around there. I believe some folks took those words, they kind of made it their own because that's the way they wanted it to be. I just don't think that's realistic. What y'all think?
Yeah, I mean, we can't really accept everything that Dave is right now. And I know that sounds weird to say, but they've got a lot that they're hiding from these other teams in this draft. And they can't really put out there the answer to the questions that the media is going to ask. Because it's like you would think that the media knows by now that they can't answer that question, but they always ask it anyway. Like, what is your intention? Who are you drafting in 19? They ask stuff that's straightforward like that, and they know that Canales and Dan Morgan can't give that type of information away. So when Dan or Dave tells you something right here just weeks before the draft, I wouldn't take it too much to heart. I mean, I really wouldn't. I think if you look at what they've done in free agency, if you look at their actions rather than their words, their actions have told you that they're coming into this BPA. And Dan Morgan's told you 50 times, including last year, another 50 times, that we're gonna be in a position where we can go BPA in the draft and just grab the best overall player, the one in their minds. And we've got to remember as fans that they may value a player more than we do as fans. But I think Jalen Phillips is a perfect example of that, Pickle. I don't think he was on the radar to a lot of fans. But in retrospect, after looking at the guy and looking at the sum of his work and what he's been able to do, he's a perfect fit for the Ivero scheme. It makes a ton of sense now that I've had time to research it, right? But when I got the initial news, I was like, wow, what are we doing? And I had to dig into it a little bit to kind of figure it out. So just because Dan says something right now or Dave says something right now just a couple weeks before the draft, don't let it bum you out too much. Don't let it get you down because at the end of the day, the fans don't pick. Dan decides. We did a whole episode on it on the Cold Show. Mm-hmm. Dan decides at the end of the day they're going to pick who they're going to pick, and we're just waiting to find out the news. So I never do buy into those scenarios. Well, Dan's got to draft this guy. Dave's got to make sure he gets that guy because I can say that all I want to, but they're never going to call me and ask me my opinion. So I don't take it to heart too much. But I will certainly dissect it, and if we don't like it, we'll let people know. I promise you that much, Pickle.
Absolutely. Jake, you still there, brother?
Yes, sir.
Tell everybody what coaching speak means.
Coaching speak is a good way to answer questions without answering a question, really. I mean, you're kind of like telling them what they want to hear, but you could go multiple different routes. So you could say that a wide receivers a need, and you can say, oh, well, we covered in free agency. We're probably not going to really look after them. But you could draft a wide receiver in the first round. I mean, just because he said that don't mean they're not going to. No, there's no GM, there's no head coach that's going to go and tell people on camera to a voice recorder what they're going to do before the draft even starts. Because if they did do that, that would make them a bad head coach. That would make them a bad GM. And we've had a certain GM that was like that. And thank God he's not with us no more. Amen. We had a head coach that was like that too.
Right, exactly. I view that a lot to where the way Canales will say, I'm not really out for depth at pick 19. Nobody's going to draft depth at 19. But how he words that is everybody has competition. So, if you draft a wide receiver at pick 19 and he comes out and he pushes Xavier Legette out of the way to take the third spot, or even he plays so good that he pushes Coker to number 3, nobody's going to complain. And it is a true camp battle. Cole, what's your opinion, sir?
I'm gonna kind of loop back to what Dees was talking about and what you asked Jake about coach speak. I don't think we need to know what we're necessarily doing, even though if you watch the Panthers enough and you're fans, you know what we need and you know what we should draft, and we've been going over that for countless weeks now. We'll keep doing that. We've been doing a good job of that, by the way. But I just feel like you're not gonna give off your set and tell everybody what you're going to do. No GM in this league that's worth it is going to do that. No head coach or nothing. So it's like I'll say, you just got to take it with a grain of salt. And then as closer as we get to the draft, you're going to hear even more wild stuff. People just make up rumors. It's just no telling until we make our pick who we're going to get. Especially with this draft, if you're trying to get the best player available like they say they are, which I don't even know if I trust that, Pickle.
Right. I want to shout out this message that Panther gal put up. He says, was anyone else disgusted when Canales admitted to only using 30 to 40% of the playbook? No, I wasn't. And I'll tell you why. Because I didn't really think he was using the whole playbook anyway. Because I looked at it like this. Canales was only an offensive coordinator. You remember, Panther gal, we've often said that Canales was only an offensive coordinator before he got hired here 1 year. He had never been a head coach. He really truly has to he had to learn what he was doing, kind of like when, after a couple years he says, Brad's going to call the plays, and he brought in an experienced veteran coordinator to help Brad out, because Canales learned, hey, I'm not doing, I had to learn what I was doing was wrong. I actually like a head coach that admitted when he messed up. I like it. He comes out and says, "Listen, some of this is on me. I didn't do it right, but I promise you we're going to get better." That shows growth in my head coach. I would rather not hear a head coach come out and say, "Oh no, everything's fine, everything's dandy, everything's under control," but you really truly know it's not. Kind of like Matt Rule, Frank Wright, uh, uh, Scott Fitter, you know. Does anybody else want to add to that?
Yeah,
I just want. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jake. I'll go after you.
Oh, okay. I just want to say, I mean, you really do want coach speak when it's around a draft. You don't want a coach to come out and tell you your plans. Like, this is the perfect time to have coach speak. That GM at the same time around the draft, free agency or two, I could think of off the top. That when you don't want coach speak is like after a loss. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear coach speak after a loss. You're covering up what the issues were just because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. I want us as fans, anyways. We want to hear what really went wrong, and we want you to tell us why. But most of the time, most coaches, not all coaches, there's plenty of coaches out there that'll tell you flat out what happened, what went wrong. But there's a lot of coaches out there that will just have coach speak throughout any process, whether after a loss, win, during a draft, whatever.
And my comment, Pickle, wasn't as much to the coach speak, but mine was more along the lines of the percentage of the playbook, which is where you kind of started with Panther Gal's comment. And
Right.
I worry about that same thing happening again this year with with Brad Idzik, it being his first year as an offensive play caller. Even with Darrell Bevel with him, it's not like Bevel was a great play caller either. No one's really asked for his services in 6 years or more. So
Right.
That's what I worry about Brad. I just worry about Brad starting out kind of slow, struggling with some of the processes of getting the hang of doing the play calling, or even getting into a rhythm itself with the play calling. And it's something that I have already like warned myself about, and I'm gonna keep my eyes open, paying attention to this offense if it's sputtering to start in the preseason. I think us having 4 preseason games will help Brad Idzik get more of the playbook in there and get more things accomplished and be more ready to go. But at the same time, there's no substitute for NFL experience, Pickle. And Brad Idzik is going to get his first taste as a play caller this season. So I would expect some hiccups along the way, especially in the beginning.
Absolutely. Um, what's the name of the gentleman that's helping Brad Isaac out? I keep forgetting his name.
Daryl Bevel.
Yeah, Bevel. I believe he was the uh uh I believe he was on the Miami staff this past couple years, doing one of them doing one of them just one of them advisor roles. But I understand exactly what you mean. I really do. But Daryl Brad Isaac has his whole family has a history of coaching and NFL GMing, and I really think that he's going to have this on top. And I believe people are going to be wildly surprised over Brad Isaac, or at least I hope anyway. What's up, D Money, brother? How you doing? Keep pounding, brother. Keep pounding, man. Um, Go on to further discussion here. Canales also said, we brought in Luke Fortner to play center. But we've also have Nick Selmack that was on all last year. He's a young guy. A couple years ago, drafted, I think, by the Ravens or somewhere, and maybe the Rams. I don't remember who drafted him.
It's Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. Oh, there you
Late
go.
pick.
So he's just a depth guy who spent all last year developing and training. And Canales admitted that they'll probably bring in somebody else. We all know, we all expect that they'll draft one. And like that, I have no doubt at all that they were going to do that, because you want those to compete for the starting center, and you really want that. Okay, if Luke Fortner has to start, the other guys that your draft pick is developing, and you're still gonna have because once you draft a guy, him and Selmack and Fortner are all competing for 2 roster spots, a starting center and a backup center. So you have 3 guys competing for 2 spots. So somebody's going to be left out. So that's just how that works in the NFL.
Yeah, one may get a practice squad spot and may still
Right.
be on the team, but
Right.
certainly could be poached by other teams at that point. So yeah, I think that's exactly where we're heading with this. I think that they do like to play their cards close to their vest so people don't
Right.
see them. But I think in that comment, Pickle, I think he gave it away a little bit that we're going to be looking center. Now, us
Right.
on the Blue and Black Attack podcast, we've been looking at center around the 3rd round, right? I don't think
Right.
we've gone any later. I think we know that the 3rd round is the shelf, and if we don't grab one in the 3rd, you're not going to get one worth having because he won't beat
Right.
out the
Right.
Saranac or
Well,
whatever his name is.
I, I think when we do our mock, you've got the levels, I guess, what I want to say. We'd like to draft him in the 3rd because that's kind of where the guys are. Uh, there's another level that you can get 4th or 5th round pick to, but you get to that level, you're talking about a guy who's not ready to start this year anyway. So to me, but yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying and agree.
Yeah, it's a guy that wouldn't compete with Fortner. It's a guy that would
Right.
compete with Saranac for the backup
Yeah.
role. He's not competing for the starting job. That's why they have to look at it in a 3rd round. So Dave Canales tipped his hand a little bit today when he said that. I think that was a dead giveaway because I don't think you want to go into the season sitting with just what we have because that's not much of a competition. I think we know how that competition with what we have
Right.
would work out.
Right. Right. And on to talk a little bit about left tackle. He mentioned that the timeline for Ikemi Kwanu to come back is still unclear. He was spotted walking in and around the stadium without any boot or anything on. So That's a positive. So the one thing though that I want to express to folks to understand, because I really think that that uh, if y'all understand, Ikemu Kwanu is a stud run blocker. He's a okay pass blocker. Walker is a stud pass blocker and a okay run blocker. So that's just how that works out. So if this team gets an opportunity to draft a complete left tackle, rest you assured, I believe they'll take that opportunity. I do not think that's off the woodwork. But I think people need to understand that Walker signed an incentive laden 1 year deal for roughly about $4 million a year. Now, that doesn't mean, and the other guy we signed, I don't even remember, Stone Forsythe,
Yes.
his contract means very little. So if they draft a left tackle with 19th pick because he's the one they really like, and he's a complete left tackle, Walker can be used as a swing tackle, and Forsythe could go to the Bills.
I mean, we're hoping that he goes somewhere else, but he
Right.
probably won't make the team anyway. I mean, they just grabbed somebody else
Right.
for competition. I think they
Right.
knew how bad this injury was to Icky.
Right.
I definitely tried to warn people, and you did too,
Right.
Pickle, saying that Icky may not be available all 2026, all year. And it's probably the smartest thing to do with the guy. I don't like in any way, shape, or form bringing back Icky in 2026 in
Mm-hmm.
case they're just 100% sure. If they're 100% sure, well then okay, you can put them on the field. But I would worry about the chance of ruining that guy's career by putting him back out this year because it was so late in the
Right.
season last year. Some guys get ready in 9 months, some guys don't. Okay,
Right.
I mean it just varies from person to person. And Icky's a big dude, and if he needs a little more time, I say give it to him and don't rush him back. So you're not
Absolutely.
ruining that asset. A guy that's a hometown guy that we drafted in the top 10. Messing up that asset is just a shame in a lot of ways. But bringing
Right.
in Rasheed Walker, like you were saying, this
Mhm.
guy that's more set to pass pro. He's a more traditional left tackle. A run blocking left tackle isn't as popular as a pass blocking left tackle. That's more popular. That's more common. That's what you see more often in the NFL. So this
Right.
is lining up well, at least for the Panthers this season. But the future of Icky is incredibly uncertain with this injury. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. And what I was
Right.
telling people last show is that with a guy like Rasheed Walker, if he goes out here and he's killing it, you know, and we know he's working out for us by like week 6, week 8, Panthers are playing great. Left tackle looks good. No sacks given up. Bryce has got time to throw the ball. Then we got the first chance to go to him and his agent and say, hey, look, we want to keep you around here long term. We want to keep you around here longer. You know, we're going to go ahead and pay you. We're going to go ahead and get this done. And it may very well be the case that that's something we see come to fruition. We may see it happen. So would that be the writing on the wall for Icky? Yeah, in a lot of ways it would. But the Panthers at least gave themselves some options by bringing in Rasheed Walker, giving them an opportunity to, number one, compete this year, and then number two, set up something long term, whether it's with Rasheed Walker or Ikem Ekwonu. But we'll have to decide that in the months to come.
Right. One thing to be fair note, as you said, folks need to understand after this coming season, Ikemu Kwanu, the only way he plays for the Panthers again is by re-signing a long contract or re-signing a contract or his franchise tag. This entering this year as we're doing right now, that is his 5th year option. He is no more years after that under contract. So he could realistically set out all year and then himself say, hey, you drafted a tackle, you've got Walker, you got Timo. I'm going to get a team that wants me to play left tackle. And he can walk away, and the only way we can stop him is if we tag him. That's a realistic possibility. Not saying I want that to happen. I want fans to understand that is a realistic situation that could happen.
And I've even heard guys throw out the idea of moving moving Icky to right tackle when Moten retires, and certainly that could be the case if they were to go
Right.
for a franchise tag and then
Mhm.
slow play this and see how it comes out. And that may be what they do. They may give him every opportunity in the book, but I'm just letting fans know they can turn and pivot too with Walker,
Right.
and that could be something if this experiment works out as well as the Panthers think it's going to, then they could pivot and turn and move in a different direction. Just kind of letting people get ready for that scenario should it happen. And you got to remember, at 19, there should be some tackles there too. So that's another monkey wrench to throw in the entire situation. Pickle, we may draft Monroe Freeland. You know what I mean? We may draft Caden Proctor. And if we go any kind of, we might draft Fanu. And if we go any of those routes, then the writing's on the wall for Icky. I'm going to be honest with you. If they do that at 19, it kind of tells us what they got in mind. It doesn't mean it's set in stone. Once again, hometown hero, top 10 draft pick, all those things for Aquanu. But if we do grab one at 19, I think it drastically changes the conversation.
Right. And also, just the FYI, folks, our left guard, Damian Lewis, is in a contract year in 2027. So it ain't too far down the road. We're going to have to start thinking. Robert Hunt's contract expires in 2028. So it ain't going to be too far down the road. We'll have to start rethinking some of these contracts.
Yep. And I mean, I think it's a perfect time to start investing in our offensive line, truly. And y'all mentioned it earlier too with Taylor Moton. I mean, Taylor Moton has this season and the next season, then he's not under contract no more. So why not start putting some draft picks into this offensive line right now? And I know a lot of people's even talked that we had the number one highest paying offensive line in the league, and by drafting offensive linemen and that way and developing them, it's going to help out financially too in the long run for our cap hit too. That way we can start doing what we've been doing free agency and start tacking these other positions, spending money that way.
Right. Cole, you up, brother?
I'm here. What's up?
Yeah, man. Explain to everybody the advantages of playing in the Hall of Fame game, where we get basically get an extra preseason game.
Oh, you can use that as a full-on burner game there, but anybody that's at the bottom of the draft, right? You want them hard and sold up in a game like, and it is a blessing to have that extra game. Honestly, y'all might can correct me. I don't know if we've ever played in the Hall of Fame game before. We might have, but I don't remember it right off gate. And it's just such a special time, especially with PICKLE'S going in. And when you tune in, we're gonna have a good show for that. I'm sure that night as well.
The last time that we was in the Hall of Fame game was our very first season, which was 1995 or 1996.
See, I figured we were like a damn trick question.
Our very first season was when we was in the Hall of Fame game.
Who did we play against? The Jags? Did they put the Jags in it too?
Jags. It was the Jags. Yep.
They did. Okay, that makes
the same exact. Yep. Well.
Something else, though, folks. Remember, David Canales or Brad Isaac wrote a lot of these short contracts for competition. Y'all remember Steve Smith used to say, competition will either make you or break you. And some folks couldn't handle competition. But Steve Smith thrived on competition. A lot of people don't know this. Cam Newton thrived on competition. They never really brought anybody in to compete with him as a quarterback, but he thrived when he had a corner or a linebacker opposite him on the defense that would talk junk to him, that would get in that heated battle. That's when Cam Newton thrived. And competition will either make you or break you. And shout out to somebody else. Well, I can't remember his name. Well, anyway, tight end Felipe Franks was quoted as saying that he really wanted to come back to Carolina, where he loved the culture here. The culture here was by far better than it was when he was with the Falcons, and he wanted to come back here where the culture is about winning football games and thriving to make yourself and your teammates better.
I can't stop laughing. That's hilarious. He hated being on the Falcons. Well, we don't blame you. We would hate being on the Falcons too. We're Panthers fans. That'd be a horrible place to be. A disgusting place to be.
Right. Well, why would anybody want to actually wear the Falcon logo? I'll never understand that.
He got paid to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if
they paid me as much money as he got paid to wear that logo, I'd probably wear it too, just to be honest, for the money. I get it. You do things at work that you probably wouldn't do at home. I promise every day we do. We do things at work that we wouldn't do at home. So I'll give Franks a pass on that. But I am excited that he wants to come back. It's just, man, it's going to be hard for him to make this roster. He's got a lot of competition. I don't know who he's going to beat out. And maybe he'll land on the practice squad. I think that's how he did last time. He landed on the practice squad, got elevated into a game. And Lord knows if you let the guy make a play, he's going to celebrate for a while. Right. And that's pretty entertaining. I'm going to be honest. He's got some celebrations.
You're right. And it's for a special teams role. And hey, shout out to James Mitchell. James Mitchell. You know, that might be a guy that's going to push James Mitchell for a job. James Mitchell was good when he was active, but he wasn't activated a lot last year. Felipe could step in and steal that job right away from him if he ain't careful.
Well, ain't any tight ends really getting the ball hardly on our team. Now, Tommy Tremble got a short ball thrown to him, and won the game off of it. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Right.
He wasn't nobody tackling that man. Not on that play. He was one of the games.
Did James Mitchell get any targets last year whatsoever?
Preseason. And he looked great.
I thought he was going to do something. I'm not even going to lie to you. He looked good. Too. I don't know why he didn't get a chance.
I tell you what I do, and I've said it before. Y'all think Felipe Franks lined up at tight end that I wouldn't have a little flea flicker, a little pass to the slot?
Gadget play.
Yeah, I would. I would definitely make that happen.
I don't know, but I just need Pickle to keep on calling him Flippy for the rest of his career with us at the very least.
I love it.
That was the first thing D-Money said.
Hey, I'll tell you right now, the thing about Flippy is that man will go out there and tackle somebody. I promise you that. He will tackle somebody.
Tackle Jake. I ain't got no problem with him being back here. That didn't bother me at all. It's going to be a role player extraordinaire. We need that.
That's it.
I'm pretty sure he knocked somebody's helmet off one time when he was with us.
Probably did.
When he tackled somebody. I'm pretty sure. I think I remember that.
I wouldn't doubt it. Was he a quarterback at Arkansas?
Mm-hmm.
He was, wasn't he? Yeah, see, that's a different kind of athlete right there. I like quarterbacks. Some of them playing out.
Let me bring this up real quick, folks. This is the draft board. Y'all in the chat, I'm gonna bump you out of the way briefly. I just wanted to go over this briefly because, Mendoza's not going to nowhere. We're gonna go first. Everybody knows that. Orville Reese ain't going to drop. Jordan Love Jeremiah Jordan Love. Jeremiah Love ain't going to drop. Well, I would like to see Sonny Styles drop, but it ain't going to happen.
Let it happen. See what happens.
Right. A lot of these other guys won't drop. Some may or may not drop. But if you sit here and look at this, folks, I don't know that there's a lot of folks in this draft, let's just say from 21 to pick 2, that if they were sitting there and pick 19 for whatever reason, I wouldn't take them. I believe I would. Absolutely.
Yeah, same here. From what I remember this last year, I used this heavy last year. This is the PFF one, right? The PFF big board.
Right.
So they don't really, I don't believe that they're counting in positional value here. They're just literally ranking the prospects 1 through 50 or whatever it goes to. And I used it a lot. It was a good reference last year for people that would pop into the draft board at different spots because they're ignoring the positional value, right? So you got that halfback at number 3, and those aren't really considered that high in the draft. Now, the best one, just like last year, can be taken in the top 10, which, of course, Love will probably be taken in the top 10 this year.
Right.
But people would value like a left tackle above him or an edge rusher above him, that even though he might be below him on this list because of positional value. So that's, if you're looking at this PFF big board, let me just try to help you a little bit and let you know that they're counting that into this. Like right here with Dylan, they got Dylan at number 12. They're not, 11. They're not saying that he's going to go there. They're saying he's the 11th best prospect in this draft overall.
Okay.
So he may be drafted. We keep every time we see him go, he goes around 20. He goes at 19, 18, 17, 15, somewhere in there. So just wanted to remind fans of that as they look at this list. But this is a very, very useful tool. It's a great chart that PFF puts out. So make sure you visit this and take a look at it.
On this tight end, Kent Sadiq, I was told that he never lined up next to the tackle as inline snap, but it says here he had 114 of them. So
no, he did.
Somebody lied to me.
No, he blocked too, Pickle. He can block.
So
yeah, we got some snappy comments about his blocking. We most certainly did when we talked about him before, and it's because me and Pickle aren't high on the Panthers drafting a tight end. I think they're I think they're complacent with the room because the tight end position isn't that big of a part of the offense. But if what Panthers gal says is true, and I certainly do believe her, and I do remember that Dave Canales said it, that we only run 30 or 40% of the offense, maybe we never got to the percentage of the offense that had anything to do with the tight end. Maybe that's the case itself. I don't know that for sure. But it might be a lot higher on their list than what we think it is, Pickle. We won't know until they draft the guy at 19, to be honest.
Right.
I know Kenyon Sadiq is a lot of Carolina Panther fans' draft crush. There's a lot of Panther fans out there that would absolutely go crazy if the Carolina Panthers.
We're going to change the way we do business if we do that, though. Like a lot. You got to validate.
I wouldn't be. Look,
you better be throwing the shit out the ball.
I'm not on that train that high, but I'm not going to be upset if they draft him at 19.
I've said that before, Jake, and I'm gonna say it again. Yeah, I'm cool with that. We grab Sadiq at 19. We grab Bryce Young, another weapon. There ain't nothing wrong with adding another weapon.
I'm cool with it, but y'all got to use it
or whatever it might be at 19.
I'm not gonna be upset if we get him. I just want to be able to validate it and use him. That's all I'm worried about.
Yeah, I don't want to see them draft him and he not even get thrown the ball to him.
You know what I'm saying? I definitely doing cardio, running up and down the field.
Yes. So see, that's why I think that. But with Sadiq, if you draft a tight end at 19, it gives you a better element of a tight end because they did try to throw the ball to the tight end some. It's not like they totally ignored it, but as the season progressed, you never got consistent play. Tommy would have a flash here and there. Sanders would have a flash here and there. You may have got your rookie tight end out there somewhere to do a flash, but nobody separated themselves into the tight end role. So this is a guy who can line up at the slot, or in line. So he may separate enough that encourages him to start getting him more active in the lineup. Shout out to Nick Short, who said he'd be good with a corner.
I wouldn't be
That
mad
is a
about that either.
possibility too.
Not mad.
But if you're right. If you take a corner with the 19th, then he'll more than likely start. So which we run a lot of nickel anyway, and that just could mean that we're going to spend a lot of time in the nickel. Canales touched on I need to find it again. He touched on the he touched on a little bit of Ivero's scheme as well today.
Yeah, and all this conversation is really interesting about the cornerback, especially because he had his pro day today. He couldn't have it back in earlier this month when Clemson had the rest of them had their pro day. So he had his own today, and we actually drafted him on the Cole Show last Thursday. So yeah, we're thinking along the same lines as what Nick's thinking, and we even said that during that show. We said if we do this, he's going to start at nickel this year. He'll replace Mike Jack next year because the chances are that drafting that corner at 19 that he wouldn't be retained. And some of the fans didn't like that. Some of the fans want to make sure that we tie up Mike Jackson long term. And man, the way he was playing, it's hard to kind of deny that. Like I'm on that kind of side too. Like I want Mike Jackson to be back, and I'm not necessarily interested in investing a whole lot of draft capital in a cornerback when I like some guys like Corey Thornton that are down there below that I feel like can have bigger years this year than what they had last year. So that's just me. In my opinion, I'm not high on corner. A lot of Panthers fans want us to get one, and I get it. And we definitely played out that scenario last Thursday on the Cole Show.
Right. Canales was stating that, while traditionally Ivero runs a 4-3 defense, a 3-4 defense, last year he changed up a little bit because of the personnel. While Phillips and Lloyd favor a 4-3 front, they've got to start mixing up more hybrids. The Rams did. A lot of the teams across the league are running more hybrid fronts than just a base 3-4 or 4-3. So this in itself shouldn't stop just because we're classified as a 4-3 or 3-4 rather, should not stop us from drafting a player because he's talented and he's the best at that pick. Just because he may not fit a certain defense.
Pickle, our defense is so hybrid, I would have a hard time. We could tell people what our formations are. But, what percentage are we truly in our base defense? I don't feel like it's very often. I feel like we're all over the place.
It's like 30% from what I recall.
Right.
See,
that's higher than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, you're not
like
even
Evero truly.
One out of 4 downs. That's it.
Evero truly does have a hybrid defense. Like his defense is so unordinary at times. Like you don't know what he's going to have out there and how it's going to be lined up, which I do love. I actually do love the way that he runs his defense at times. The way, especially three. I love the 3 safety look. I love that look.
Right.
Right.
And if you go out and get a safety, help me, Jake. That Oregon safety. How do you pronounce that name?
Dylan.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
Dylan Thieneman.
I believe. I could pronounce it wrong too.
If
be a nice
if you select that guy, if you get your hands on that guy, you can line him up as a starting free safety or a nickel, and it'll fit all the way around. And it gives you the opportunity when you're providing everybody shows out. You can easily put Ransom as strong safety. The strong safety.
Morig
in the box, and then turn around and have Thieneman at free, or you can alternate either one of them.
That's a little lightweight scary, honestly.
Yeah,
I think we can do something with that.
right.
And I wouldn't even mind the safety, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I mean, I know a lot of people is kind of scared of the college Toledo, but hey, Toledo's been
Go watch
producing
how
some
he plays.
Hey, not only that, Toledo's been producing some secondary players. I mean, look at Philadelphia. They drafted one in the first round last year or a year before that, and the dude's a stud. He's really good. And he's
Right.
a corner. He's not a safety, but still, I wouldn't mind them at all if they drafted Emmanuel McNeil Warren at 19.
Right.
Dude's a
Right.
beast, and the film shows it.
Yes. Yes. His overall grade is a 91.9.
Uh,
So,
Damn.
run defensive snaps. Um, this year he had 312. Coverage snaps he had 336. Uh, Either way, he'd be a great guy to line up in here.
What number safety do you think he's coming off the board, Pickle? Is he going to be like the second
McNeil
or?
is the one we're talking about.
Oh, I guess yeah,
Oh,
him and Dylan.
yeah, I believe he's 6'2", 202 pounds. I believe you're going to see 3 first-round safeties this year. I believe I really do believe you're going to have 3 first-round safeties. Emmanuel McNeil Warren uh is going to be one of those. Then you're going to have Dylan Thaleman is going to be another, and Caleb Downs is going to
I
be another
agree.
one.
No,
Yep.
You're going to have 3 safeties in the first round this year. I truly believe that.
I wouldn't rule out one. You can't rule out one. I don't think so. If I had to pick 3 positions, I think we were going to pick with that pick in the first round. I'd have to say safety was one of them. I'm not going to say it's number 1, but it's in the top 3 for me.
Right.
I would do that shit.
Right. Like Nick Short here says that he if we go BPA, it should be corner or linebacker. Well, that's the point.
I'm
The
okay with that too.
linebacker, there may not be a linebacker, and that's where it gets tricky because your inside linebacker to draft at 19, none of them really fit the position at 19. If you do, they're going to be considered reach, but they may not be none there if you want to wait till 51. So that's going to
That's
be a
what I'm
tricky
saying.
position.
Do we trade back and get our linebacker?
Or do we trade up in the second round?
I
Valid
think both of those
question.
are a possibility. I think more so that we trade up in second more than a trade back scenario. I would argue though, Nick. I mean, you're not wrong though, but at the same time, I mean, no matter who we draft at 19, it's going to be a risk. I mean, there's
Oh
so
yeah.
many people in the draft that are busts in the first round. It's not even funny at times. No matter who
Majority
we
of
draft
them
at
is gonna
19, it's
be.
going to be a risk.
I shouldn't say that it's a pretty good draft class. I shouldn't say the majority of the first round will be busts because there's some good talent there. I take that back.
I agree with Stephen Bailey here. A prime safety instead of a middle of the pack player would be a real upgrade, and it would stop those 2-minute drives that the Panthers always fail to
We are
stop.
so keen to give up that shit, ain't we, Pickle? End
Right.
of the half, end of the game.
Right. Nick Short says the safety in the first is risky. Well, it used to be, but the way they're building safeties now, it's not as, and the way they're using safeties now, it's not as much of a risk. You got to remember they really liked the Seattle Seahawks safety last year, but he went higher than they anticipated.
Yeah,
You know,
Nick
Dan Morgan.
Emanuari.
Yeah, Dan Morgan is often
We
a
need that type
guy
of
who
player.
says, "You fool me once, fine, but you're not going to fool me twice." And that's how that's how I believe he feels it. I believe he really wanted a safety last year, but the one he wanted just didn't drop far enough. So I don't think Dan. I think if one that he really wants is sitting there, I think he'll reach out and take it. Plus, you got to remember the the Ravens took 2 safeties in the first round. Both are starting safeties and are first round picks now. The Ravens did. So, um, you know, safeties drafting in the first used to be risky business, but the way they're doing it now, the way the defenses is changing, the way the a safety has almost replaced your third linebacker in a 3-4 defense,
I
in a
agree.
4-3 defense. It's almost you're almost when you go out nickel, you don't know if you're going to line up a corner or a safety or a third safety, and that in itself, you got to remember. Sometime last year when Morig was in the box playing nickel, uh, Chow Smith Wade was playing safety. That's not really a good recipe for success.
Pickle, I just want to say this while I got it on my mind. It is so much better being able to talk about a defense where we've seen that there is talented players on there outside of just J.C. Horn and Derek Brown. We are improving, and if we continue to go in the right directions, especially with our new additions, there's no reason why we can't be a top 10, top 5 defense. And I didn't think I would be able to say that for a long ass time. I really believe it.
Right.
I believe we got a top 10 defense on paper
I
right
think
now
so.
as we speak. Without even
Right.
drafting anybody, I think we got a top 10 defense on
Right.
paper.
Right.
But everybody's got
Right.
to stay healthy. But this draft, I mean, we're going to draft a couple defensive players, man. I do think. I mean, if you're looking at any of Dan Morgan's drafts so far, the only 2 that he's had so far, it's been a mixed bag, offense and defense, and I like that. I mean, because you're adding to both. No matter what he does in free agency, when it comes to the draft, he still goes to both wells, so to speak, offense and defense.
Yeah, he will. I mean, we're going to dip into both for sure. And to Pickle's point about the Ravens, I mean, that might be the best safety pairing in the league. What the Ravens have over there, that's the kind of pairing I'd like for the Carolina Panthers to have. And with a guy like Morig, we're not far away from it. And I don't think that they're looking at Nick Scott long term. That's not the kind of contract that he signed, guys. So I think he's
Nope.
a guy that's going to start this year if they don't find somebody in that draft to replace him, and they very well could. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think that's something that they're looking at. I know the chat said, we need a free safety, and we all know that. We know Nick Scott had a rough year and then improved last year. He's coming back for 2026, and we're all hoping for the best. But the Panthers are going to be looking that direction as well, and it's not like a guy like Lathan Rain knocking at the door anyway, because he is. He was making plays for us last year, had some rookie bumps and hiccups and things that you would expect to happen, but he kept pounding. You know what I mean? He found a way to keep pounding and persevering through those things, and basically win us a game versus the Bucks that we had lost 10 in a row. So if anybody was able to help us turn around, it was Lathan Ransom, and again, and a guy like that, I have a lot of confidence in his depth moving forward, and somebody's going to challenge that starting role. So even if we don't draft a safety, or if we draft one late, I still think the room's going to be competitive and interesting, especially in this Ivero defense like y'all were talking about, because they're playing zone anyway. These guys aren't manning up at safety. Sometimes they do. Unfortunately, sometimes they do against the Cowboys in the red zone and CeeDee Lamb, and that's not a good idea. But the large part of the time, they're playing in like a cover 3 shell or something like that, where it's not too hard for the safeties anyway. So I wouldn't be too concerned, even if we need to have a young safety out there on the field, Pickle. I think it's something that long-term could definitely help this team moving forward.
Right.
Pickle and Dees and Jacob, I want y'all's opinion on this. I mean, when do they take those training wheels, for lack of better words, off of Ransom, and when does he get that full-time chance to get a role on the team?
I think Ransom has to step up. I don't think it's about them removing his training wheels. I think it's about him saying, I want this job and I'm going to go out and take it. But if he would come out in training camp for preseason and take a starting job,
I'm cool with it.
It makes our life a whole lot easier. Even if they would draft a safety in the first round, say Thaddeus is there and we take him, even if that happens, then Ransom comes out and plays like a starter, force feeds himself down the coach's throat. They have to figure out a starting spot for him at some point.
Yeah, we got to get them on the field. The best players are going to go
So
out there.
that would be a benefit for us.
Sure
But I believe that's up to him, waiting for him to take that step forward, so to speak.
Jacob and Pete, y'all feel differently than that? I think you're wrong.
Nah, I think it's.
How I feel about it.
I think it truly is going to come down to him, really adapting and then taking over the playbook, so to speak, when it comes to the Evero system. He just got to show it more out on the field. To be honest with you, I think he's more a Morig replacement because he plays just like, I think even when he was with Ohio State, like what Morig is doing right now for Evero and his system, where the box is basically what Ransom was known to do at Ohio State. Not saying that he can't cover. I think that's the biggest challenge that he's going to have in Evero's system is that no matter where he's at on the field at the safety position, you got to do both. You can't just be a box safety. You're going to have to cover somebody. You're just going to have to do that.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
It's a good take.
If I may say, y'all, I want to shout out all 110 subscribers.
Thank you.
And say we appreciate like, share, and subscribe. And enjoy the show.
Spot on. Definitely appreciate it.
I mean, they're the best on
Heath,
YouTube.
how are you feeling about that? I got everybody's opinion. How do you feel about Ransom?
Yeah, I mean, I like Ransom a lot. I was shocked last year we waited as long as we did to go get a safety. I mean, we really let a lot of them fall off the board before we made our move. So I was surprised we waited that long, first of all. But I was happy with the pick in the end. I mean, the guy seems like a just incredible worker. I mean, I agree with the chat. The chat saying he's not ready to start. I don't think he is. I wouldn't start him day one. Not as much as Nick Scott improved. Not as much as the Panthers really believe in Nick Scott. Vero and Dave Canales both shocked us. Thank you, Nick. I see that. We need all the subs we can get. If you hadn't subbed up, make sure you sub up. Make sure you turn on your notification bells. Our start time it fluctuates a little bit right now. Well, we got a lot of work and stuff that we do outside of this. We just do this for fun. As you see, there's nothing up asking for any money for anybody. We do this for fun. We all work other jobs. We just want to talk about the Panthers, and we want y'all to have a good time talking Panthers with us.
Exactly. And we feel you shouldn't have to wait till 9 or 10 o'clock for a show to start. We feel that we can get it to you earlier than that. We're going to do that. So.
You can always come back tomorrow. I always think about tomorrow. I appreciate y'all as well.
That's right.
One other thing I want to bring up. Canales did say that with them releasing Ashawn Robinson, it leaves a hole in the defensive line rotation. And he admitted that they may take advantage of that and go into the draft. Do y'all think Canales admitting that was a mistake on his part? Deez, what do you think, sir?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I do. He probably should have said that because we did that whole Peter Woods draft on the Cole show, and man, people love that one. Us making history, drafting Peter Woods at number 19 and plugging that defensive line, and then the show we did about it on Invaders too, about Walls breach. Did we make a mistake by letting Ashawn Robinson go? And people resonated with that too, Pickle. I mean, we struck a nerve when we brought up the conversation, and I don't think Dave should have said anything about it. I really don't, especially with us facing Ashawn twice a year now. That's another thing I don't like about it. That guy is a hog molly, and he's got an attitude on him. And when he gets mad, he don't turn green, but he's really strong, really strong.
Right.
So I'm concerned about it. I've been concerned about it. LeBron Ray has been on this team long enough. I want the talent to replace him or get him on the practice squad where he needs to be and not in this rotation each and every Sunday. We're not there yet. And Turk Wharton, I think every Panthers fan at this point wants Turk Wharton to step up this year. I really do. They may not believe in the guy that much, but I think everybody wants to see him take a big step forward from what we saw last year, especially given his contract and what the Panthers were willing to commit to him. So, yeah, I'm concerned about what Dave said, Pickle. I'm curious about Cole. Cole, did that bother you, what Dave said about defensive tackle and A'Shawn Robinson?
Oh, no. I think he, if you even want to look at it as a conspiracy, he could be using that as a ploy or a tool to drive the current players on the roster to step up. Somebody has to take that role and get predominantly more snaps than they honestly did last year. And that goes for Turk, Bobby, the whole crowd. Somebody has to step up. So drafting one is honestly not off the table as well. That could be anywhere in the draft. We said at the beginning of the show, D, I don't trust anything that nobody's going to say until after we turn that card in. This is all just coach speak. Keep saying it over and over and over, but that's what it is. Just get you off the trail. They don't want you to know what they're doing. And I'd like to. Gamesmanship, my friend.
It probably is. I mean, you're probably right. Jake, do you think so too? Do you think it's all showmanship by Canales, or is he making some young coach mistakes when he's saying these things?
No, I mean, I would say I think it's a competition hole. I mean, I would definitely say that. I mean, A'Shawn Robinson definitely brought, competition to that room. I mean, he even had leadership that he showed in the Panther blueprint. I mean, the dude was, he was a big part of that defensive line. I mean, I didn't like him being as a defensive tackle. They used him mainly at the defensive tackle spot. I'd rather have him out there on the edge where, they played Turk Wharton at times as well. I definitely believe there's a competition hole there, but I love Bobby Brown. Y'all know that. I was really, really high on Bobby Brown when we signed him, and I do think he is going to be the guy at our nose tackle position. But it would surprise me if they add to that defensive line room maybe later in the draft. I don't know if they're going to spend a high draft pick unless there's a guy that they didn't expect to be there at 19 that somehow falls down there. That's the only way I see them taking a defensive end or maybe even a defensive tackle at 19.
Do you think Cam Jackson has the ability or to step up, or you think it's asking too much too soon?
I like Cam Jackson, and I like what I've seen with the limited snaps that we saw him last season. I like what I've seen from him. I mean, I think a lot of it has to deal with like just getting him comfortable in his body weight, for him to hit the weight room a little bit more, get a little bit stronger. But I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I like what I saw from him when he was out there.
Right.
Yeah,
the only other guy we have
untapped potential, my friends.
Right.
I think he can be a player.
Right. Go ahead. Deez, what do you think of Cam Jackson?
I need to see more, man. They didn't put him in the game enough for me last year. I feel like they could have gave him some more opportunities than what he got. I do remember a couple really, really freaking good plays he made in the game when he got an opportunity. The game wasn't necessarily on the line, but he did his job and then some. And I like his size. I mean, I really do. So I'm a fan of Cam Jackson. I think that if you're wanting a guy to make an impact this year, you need to go before the 5th round to go get him. Let's quit waiting so late and grab somebody a little bit earlier. But that's the thing about defensive tackles. They take time to get ready and curate and grow into the size they need to be in the NFL. So it's a rock and a hard place. Drafting those guys, I get that. You want to give them time to develop, but at the same time, we need to see what they got. And there's nothing like NFL experience to make you a better NFL player. So I'd like to see Cam Jackson more on the field this year than what we saw last year by a long shot, guys.
That's a good take, D. There's snaps to be had on the defensive line, especially the interior. I hope he steps up and takes them, especially if we don't draft anybody. If we don't draft anybody, that'll be a sign that they believe in him as well as the others on the roster.
I would almost be in disbelief that they didn't draft one at this point after the conversations that we've had here. It seems, and the comment that Dave made today as well. I would assume that we're going to look at one at some point. I would just like to do it before the 5th if we can. I know it's hard to address every single need, The Panthers shouldn't have made the playoffs last year anyway. The roster wasn't ready. The team outplayed their roster. They literally did, which is a sign of good coaching. So this year, I like to invest a little more in that defensive line, at least in the future of that defensive line, guys. I know Bobby Brown's in a good age, and Derek Brown's in a good age as well. And we got a lot of young talent around those guys. But I'd like to see a little more, just because of what we have is depth there. And that, I guess that goes back to the conversation where they don't draft for depth. But I don't see how you're not drafting for depth if you're down in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, which is where we've been taking these guys for the defensive line. So let's take a shot and get a guy a little bit earlier. Who do you got up here for us, Pickle?
This is Tyreek Thunderberg. Spent a couple years he's from Appalachian State. He spent a couple years. He spent 2024 and 2025 and 1 month on the practice squad of Minnesota, but the other ones he spent in Tampa Bay. I will throw up a couple names here and there on our podcasters, just guys that nobody knows, including us maybe, and just finding out something. Because you never know about some of these guys and how they develop and who they could be. In 2024, he had 10 combined and 4 assistant tackles. You never know when somebody like that steps up and actually does something. So I just wanted to throw that name up there. Yeah.
I like it, Pickle. Might even do a little long shot talk on Thursday. Hope we
Right.
might get at the back end of the draft.
Right. He is a corner,
Love
and
it.
this is the type of year that a lot of these guys. It's kind of a lot of these guys that's been in the league for a couple of years. It's their one and done time. It's their opportunity to show the world that, hey, that belong in the league, or, well, I tried. I gave it my all. And, some of these guys make something and some don't.
Mhm.
So,
I think that's interesting, Cole, bringing up an underdog
Right.
style show or whatever, or draft mock or whatever you want to do for some guys that are under the radar kind of show where we draft guys that are kind of flying low.
Absolutely.
That's all pretty interesting. I like that idea.
We're going to do that move, my friend.
all right, folks.
I'm just rattling off names in my head right now. We'll come up with some good stuff on Thursday. Pickle.
right.
My fault. Yeah.
It is a last minute decision on my part. Next time we'll have a few stats, kind of give a synopsis of what he did in college and what led him to the Panthers, so to speak. Y'all, that's all we got for
Absolutely.
today. Appreciate all y'all. Again, hit the like, subscribe. Remember that the coaches are learning, the GM's learning, even the owner had to learn. So we got to be a little bit patient. I know we run low of patience, but I do think that we're building the right way finally, and for a long time we never built the right way. So
Yeah, this looks better. This does look better. It looks better. It feels better.
It feels better.
Making the
Dave.
playoffs. Making the playoffs in year 2 when Dave Canales really probably shouldn't have been the coach in the first place. Good stuff, Pickle. It does. You're right, man. It feels a lot better. It looks a lot better. We're doing it the right way, Cole.
right.
Be proud, be happy. We have lots to be thankful for. Keep pounding, Pickle.
The future is bright.
Right. So folks, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Look at me, you see my toe. Promises broken, our blood and oil. We started in darkness, 0 and 2, but the lighthouse kept burning, guiding us through. The doubters were loud, next with me. Said this young team had no chance to dream, but we kept on pounding through the stormy night. Our